Hi everyone, and welcome back to Vintage Nerd. It's Daphne, and today I wanted to share with you one of many videos that I'm going to be doing on vintage fashion and creating your own style. I know that when you first dip into the vintage pool, it can be very overwhelming. A lot of the women out there seem like they have their look down packed, that they know what they're doing, but what we forget when we're first getting into it is that many of these women, they've been doing it for 5 or 10 or 15 years. That's first. Second of all, many of them may have a lot of access to vintage or reproduction, or be around people who like what they're doing as well. So therefore that helps when developing your style. So I've been on this vintage journey since June 2011, and I've had a lot of hits and misses. I started out with the 40s because I've always loved that decade. I mean, it was the decade my parents were born, and it's a decade that I'm proud of in US history. So I loved it. But going on this vintage journey, I've discovered that it may not be the go-to style for me. One of the things I'm going to be doing on my blog, vintagenerd.net, is I'm going to be doing a new series called My Vintage Style, because I finally figured out and discovered what kind of style suits me best and what really makes me happy, and I want to share that journey with you. But before I do that, today I'm going to share with you 4 tips on creating your vintage style. This is for beginners and this is for pros if you want to kind of evolve your look and change it up. So the first one is easy, or rather it's not easy, but it's a lot of fun. The first one is experimenting with decades. Experiment. Try wearing an outfit from the 1930s. Try styling your hair like the 1950s. Try wearing go-go boots with a mini skirt like in the 60s. Try all the decades out, because you really don't know what you like and what suits you if you don't try them out. And like, for example, I love 1930s fashion. And I've dressed 1930s about 3 or 4 times, a few times for photo shoots and a few times for events. And I'm going to tell you right now, I love like the hair and the makeup, but I have yet to find clothing that would look nice on my body. So it's not my favorite because I don't feel really good. I don't feel like the clothing accentuates my body the way that I would like it to. So even though I love the fashion, it's really not my forte. It's really not something that I'm going to delve into and throw myself into. But I experiment and I try them all, and I love wearing them all. And tomorrow I'll wear victory rolls if I want to. I don't have to have my hair 60s style with 60s makeup. But at this point in my life, it's really the early 60s that makes me the happiest. It's the whole decade, but really that's the focus of my style and for now. So I want you to take a look at some of the decades that I tried out. Okay, so I don't know what you thought about them, but I tried them all out. I tried 1910s, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and actually in the 90s, I dressed 70s. I wore bell-bottoms, polyester shirts. One day I'll share a picture, but that's the way I dressed in the 90s because I kind of found most 90s fashion to be vile. But I had fun with all of them, and it's so much fun to experiment with the decades. So in creating a vintage style, experiment. Tip number 2, know your figure. Know what fits your body well. Where are the parts of your body that you're not so comfortable with? Are there parts of your figure, like are you petite or are you tall? Are you really skinny or are you very curvy? Do you have a large posterior like I do, or do you not? So in knowing your figure, you will, once you try on clothes, you'll know what looks good on you by trying them on. For example, my figure, I know I may not look it in my pictures, but I'm actually 5'3". I'm not as tall as people think I am, but I have long limbs, long arms and legs. I think I was meant to be taller, but I just stopped growing by the time I was 14. Oh well. My mom was actually pretty tall for a woman. She was about 5'7", 5'8". But I stopped at 5'3.5" or around there. When I wear my leg braces, I appear to be a little bit taller because the plastic of the braces gives me a little height. But I'm also, after having the children, I went from a size 8 to a size 12. So I have more breasts, I have more midsection, I have more hips and thighs and posterior. So I'm aware of these parts of my body. I know now what will flatter my figure and what it wouldn't. So I want you to take a peek at some of these pictures and tell me what you think. Okay, so those photos are of what worked for me and what didn't work for me when I started to dress vintage. Some of them you noticed that were too snug around the midsection, and some were just very flattering for my waist and my you know, midsection and posterior. Okay, so tip number 3, know what colors look best on you. In the blog post that I'm going to be doing soon, I'm going to share some links on how to figure out what colors look best with your complexion. Now, I have fair skin, I have brown eyes, and I have dark brown or almost black hair. So there are certain colors that will look better on me than others. For example, orange looks very nice on me because I have the black hair, kind of Halloween-y. It looks nice on me. It's not horrible. Okay, like orange, yellow, brown, they all look pretty decent on me. But blue or red really pops on my skin color. Okay, so in knowing what colors look best on you, it will enhance your look and it will make you feel good too. Okay, the last tip is number 4 is wear what makes you feel happy. Wear what makes you feel good. At the end of the day, even if somebody may not think that the outfit works well on you, as long as you're happy, do it. I'm really big on comfort because of my leg braces and because of my disability, and also because I have 3 small children. I prefer comfort almost over anything. But I also want to feel pretty. So the kinds of dresses that make me feel comfortable and pretty are the late 50s, early 60s dresses with the Peter Pan collar and the full skirt and the short sleeves. I love it. What I don't like are sleeveless dresses because I kind of have fuller arms these days and I kind of feel a little uncomfy about them, but it doesn't mean it doesn't look good on me. It's just, well, I prefer short sleeve more than anything else. So those are my 4 tips on helping you create a vintage style. If you have any questions, please comment below or check out my blog at vintagenerd.net. I'm going to share with you on my new series, my vintage style, the things that worked for me and the things that didn't, and I hope all the tips that I share with you and all the knowledge that I learned can help you discover your own vintage style. Take care.